Hey guys, welcome to my bass approach tutorial. This is all about bass, nothing else, and in here I'm going to explain most of the techniques that you've heard. Most of your questions, they're going to be answered in here. So not to say much, stay tuned and let's start. So the technique is very easy and very simple. It only work around these two fingers, so we use mostly this is more like a snare, and this is more like a kick. So we use the thumb to mute the note. So you just play it, you make sure it's dry, there's no notes coming out of it, just like dry completely. Make sure it's dry like that. Then mostly the thumb has to go down, and then the first finger comes up. So it goes like 1, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But before that, you need to find a angle where it gives you more of a low end sound. Some people prefer playing it in between the fret, and some, like me, I prefer playing it somewhere here, and others would literally just play here. But basically everything has to turn between the last three frets of the guitar and the first mic, so in this angle here. Now after you've learned how to go down and up, down and up, down and up, that's the technique. Then after that, now you need to learn how to mute your E string, because the E string you only play it when maybe if you want to play something heavy on top, then you can use the E string, but mainly it's closed. So with the left hand we use like 4 fingers like this in between the three space here. So you put your 4 fingers in there. Now this one comes up and close, basically trying to you hold your neck like that. Now on the basic, very basic way of starting, let's say our chord progression in the key of C is like 1, okay, and that 1 4 5 4 1. Now the way we start, you see like okay, 1, so that before I add the first finger, so this is like a very basic, but the best way for you to actually master the technique. So you start like on the C, then you mute, then you go to the F, you mute, you come back to the G, you mute. That is without the snare, basically. You just play the kick. Then when you start adding your first finger, you go like, you get? So in every step, everywhere you play, you have to make sure that the kick comes in between the notes. When you play, you rest on the kick. You rest on the kick. Okay, so mainly as a bass player, when you get like a bass line, it's like music here. You need to develop a starting point, a development point, and then a conclusion. You can't just start throughout and you finish everything in the beginning. So this mainly in the beginning, you go like you keep on the low end. You keep your low end going. You know, until the drummer gives you a row. If the drummer doesn't give a row, the guitarist hasn't changed anything, you keep it going until they change. So then, as I was saying, after you finish with the kick and the snare and all that, there is now a percussive side of it. There's the percussion side of it, which comes in between the notes and the kick. So you go like, you know? And remember, this is my concept. This whole video is all about how I come up with bass line, how I sound. So most of the time I try to think of percussion in between the notes. I don't want to limit myself in just playing notes, snare, and kick. It's kind of boring. So I go like, so those percussive, they are also muted. Like there's nothing. They are just muted. They're very much muted. So okay. Yeah. So then after you've learned how to add your percussion approach on it, now you need to join the rhythmic side of it. The rhythmic side of it is the most important part. You can play the same notes, you can keep the same notes, the same pattern, but once you change your rhythmic here, your bass line change as well. So for example, if my bass line was okay, let me add some rhythmic. You know, it's the same notes, but now my bass line sound different because I've added a lot of rhythmic. Rhythmics, there's no rules for it. You can do triplets, you can do whatever comes in your mind, as long as it fits on the chord progression, as long as it fits on you with your idea, you are free to do. You can add chords if you want, but for here I wouldn't really want to talk about chords yet. I'd rather talk about the technique and then see how you can develop it. Yeah. So now that was the basic chord progression from 1, 4 to 5. Now in that case where you are found in a progression where it's like 1, 5, 4. Okay. Here somehow the thinking changes in here. So on the first one we're playing, okay, now in here we start, okay, on the very basic line when it comes to 1, 5, 4, which even us bass players, even the advanced bass player, they still use it, but they just play around it. So it goes like this. you notice the difference with this one is the kick doesn't just come in between the notes. In here, the kick is coming after you're done your first part, like, okay, I rest, then the kick comes. Then the kick comes back. So in here, it's very, very different. It's actually like one of my favorite chord progression in Rumba, actually. So as I was saying, when you add the rhythmic on your playing, you realize that your sound becomes something else. For example, I said this is a very basic way to approach it. Kick, octaves, okay. Now I want to start adding some rhythmics. You know, it's the same. I didn't change any chords, but now I'm just adding a lot of rhythmics. So basically the main thing is here. Rumba, it's all about your right hand. Your right hand has to be on point. You need to learn a lot of techniques, listen to a lot of percussion. For me, it's much easier because I'm a percussionist as well. But in that case where you don't play percussion, try to play around your rhythmics, and then you will see that it's easy for you to get along and just come up with any bass lines. So apart from this chord progression, there are two more that some actually don't really use it, but it's okay, I can still share it. So it goes like 1, 4, 1, 5. Okay. So in here, we still go like, okay. Okay, this one is a bit different because you start now using your kick with somehow like some notes to pass on a 5. So okay, so in here again you find that even the kick, it doesn't come the way the other one was coming, but make sure that in between all your notes there has to be that bounce on the E string. Like this is what makes you. Some people you find they play like it's okay, it can fit, but it doesn't really give you that groove like where a bass player can just play with a drummer and then someone can actually dance on it. So that groove comes from here. Okay, so and then there is another one which goes like what? Okay, 1, 5, 7, 4, and 5. So in here we somehow use the 1 and the 3rd and the 5 of B flat because we are in C. So we do the 3 and the 5 as a passing chord, which the 5 of B flat still a 4. Still a 4, yeah? A 4 for C. So it basically just resolves. So yeah. Okay. Okay. You see here, I'm still keeping the percussive sound, but that's where, for me, that's where my groove is. It's not really in here, because if I'm playing with a 6-string bass, I don't really have space to use the kick on top, meaning I need to find something going on down here. That's why I came up with a lot of mute in between my playing so I can cover the empty spaces. So this, I was saying, goes like, okay, this chord progression goes like the one we did. Basically, the concept is like that, but you just add the flat 7 and the third of that flat 7, just to make it sound more of major. Some people play just you can do it as a turnaround, going back to C, or basically I prefer playing it as B flat major. I just play B flat major, so I can play a third of B flat, the 5, even the 6, whatever of that B flat. So yeah, this is like these are like the most happening chord progressions in rumba, unless I forgot one. Oh, there is this one. Yeah, but this one is the same. It's like the one we did before. Yeah, basically these are like the normal ways of approaching this chord progression. Now let's try and see how to build the bass line. How do you build your bass line? You don't necessarily need to play the exact notes the way the guitarist or the keyboard player will be playing when it comes to rumba. What makes it different is how to substitute your chords, how to find notes that works with a certain type of chord. For example, the relative chords. If you're on C, you know that you can play A, you can play D, you can play E, you can play F, you can play any note of the C major scale. So, like for example, when we are playing it's okay. Even when I go back to what I said by creating rhythmics like it's alright. But then it's still somehow boring because you're doing a lot of rhythmics, but you're still playing the same note. It's still sounding a bit boring. So what you need now is to learn how to substitute your chord. For example, when they're playing, how many counts per note So once you discover that, okay, maybe 1 2 2 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now you know that every note has got 2 counts. So in those 2 counts, you can divide them. You can play. I've removed my G. The G is no longer there. I've replaced my G with the E. Reason why? Because E is a relative minor of G. So wherever someone can play G, you can play E. But not only that, E is the third of C. So remember what I said, you can use any note from the major scale. So okay, then I start adding 6. It's the A. The reason why I'm playing the A is because the A is a relative minor of C. So wherever there is A, I can play C. Where there is C, I can play A. For the G and the 6 for C. Then I go back to 4. Then I come back to G. Something like that. The reason why I'm playing, because D is the second degree of C and it's a minor 6 for F. You see, so they all work together. Okay. If I come here, you see, they all work together. Whatever it is, I'm sure you. So it's that you need to learn how to substitute your chords, and then it's very important for a bass player to know at which point am I supposed to open an open chord, because you find that most of us now, because we've learned, you know that if I do, I'll open it. In rumba, it's not like that. The discipline is the main key. Like, you need to think before you do anything. You have to follow the guitarist. You need to listen to the guitarist, because he's the one talking, and us, our job is to support and answer what he's talking about. Okay, so that's where you find, like, if I'm sure you've heard in the beginning, there is some part where I would repeat the guitarist's line. It's just to support and answer to what he's saying. Okay, it's really important for you to listen, and you only change the bass line when the drummer rolls. If there is no roll, you keep the same bass line. So after you've learned how to substitute your notes, how to add rhythmics on it, how to develop your technique, make sure you do it down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, for a long time until your fingers are free. Yeah, so you need to listen to the drummer, the lead guitarist. They really give you a guideline on how you do your thing, you know. So once after you've learned all these techniques and all whatever this is, you need now to learn how to use a structure on your playing. How do you start? How do you develop your line? And how do you finish it? So most of the time when you start, you have to leave your bass line open. Open means like if you're playing. If that's your first bass line, let it be as empty as possible. Like, let it be the way it is until the drummer gives you a row. The moment the drummer gives you another row, meaning they're telling you try to develop it a bit, not too much, just a bit. That's now when you start changing the rhythmics with the same bass line, but you just start changing the rhythmic, because you find that most of the time the guitarists don't actually change the lines after the row. They just change dynamics of their lines. So if it was then after the row, the drummer rolls. You keep that, and then again you find that there is another row again that comes in. You start now moving away from keeping your low end notes. You start moving away from that concept. You start going more of your high notes, and then use your low note as a response to what the guitarist is playing. Yeah, so you need to learn how to develop, conclude, all that. So the moment the drummer gives the second row, it tells you add some more rhythmics on your bass line. Doesn't mean change the bass line. Keep the same bass line, but then just add some more rhythmic. You need to understand music is to complement each other. So it's like when you're playing with a classic band, you only roll when the chance is given to you to roll. You only solo when it's your part to solo. You can't just play on top of everyone, and especially when it comes to bass, you need to take it easy, and then just give you. There is a time when the bass player also comes out, where the guitarist goes down, but it requires you to go up. So after you've added your rhythmics on do, I think the drummer will roll again. Then you hear mostly guitarists will go like that. Means now he's calling you to actually listen to what he's about to play and just change the bass line according to whichever chord progression he is going to go through. So in that case, you start now moving away from playing the low end. You avoid these notes. You start now going more. The lowest notes become this. Okay, but then you still come back. You come back with this, but it's just like you come and then you go. So it's like stuff like that. So now you start going, because you already, we can tell that the bass player is about to to end. So after that, maybe there will be a syncopation or something. From there, that's now the most important part. Let's say it's easy to do it in the key of A, for example. Okay, so if you play, okay, then that row, when it comes, and you go back on a 6. You see, by keeping the same concept of adding a lot of rhythmics but avoiding a lot of note from the low end. So in here you just like trying to lock it. Now you lock it. It's the end. You're concluding your idea. You lock yourself with the drummer, the lead guitarist, everyone, because the lead guitarist at this point, they move. Mostly they're here. You find them, they go a bit. Yeah, in Congo they call it mi solo. So he will go somewhere here. He's no longer like really, down. So that when you go, if your chord progression was or it was like we did. No. Depending, all this is just some bass lines that I know, but it just depends on what the guitarist is playing. So you lock yourself on the 6, just 4, you come back on the 6, then 1 up, back 4, 6 maybe, because of the 1, like I was saying, you need to learn to substitute. So because of the 1, you can still replace your 1 with the 6. So you still lock yourself and listen to the guitarist and get what the guitarist is playing and pick whichever answer that melodically, which answer can work with your notes. And then you just answer and get back to 6. You answer, you get back to 6. So this is like basically it, because I don't want to talk about the scales that we use yet, because with or without scales you can still play and it sounds awesome. Okay, you just need to rhythmic, discipline, technique, and it's easy to go. Yeah, so that's basically it. In everything, just make sure you practice a lot. Practice a lot and be honest with yourself. Admit where you don't know and where you know, and perfect it. So that's basically it for today, and I hope this video has helped most of the bass players out there, and even myself. I've learned some things that I somehow forgot. So yeah, see you for the next videos.